Let's see. As long as it doesn't make me too.
I don't know.
Let's see if this doesn't throw it off. It does. Is that okay?
Teeny bit to your right.
That's my left.
No, that was good.
Right there?
No, more the other way. Yeah, and Eric a little bit. A little bit more. Good, that's excellent. Great.
Oh, is that right?
Yep, that's excellent.
Who made you the director?
I didn't. I thought it.
I'm the set director.
So I guess I get confused because when he says right, I'm thinking of the right as I'm flipping.
It's from his right. It's the opposite. He's viewing us, and he's saying his right.
Oh, okay.
You're doing your right, which would be his left.
But okay.
Let me do the set director.
Okay. Okay. Set. Do the set. Nothing different, huh?
3 minutes. Don't get nervous.
No.
You have a perfect voice for the job.
Me? Why?
You just do. You got that nice, deep, calm voice. I bet you could talk like hostages out of a building.
You know, I used to date somebody whose whole family said Cliff is so calm that there could be a nuclear holocaust and he'll go, don't worry, we'll get through it. And they were so high strung, this whole family was so high strung. I was constantly talking, you know, I probably could, because the more stressful things get, the more calm I get.
It's probably the thing. Obviously, you're not with her anymore.
Unfortunately, no. But it was nice, and but very high strung. Oof. We were together for a while. That's why I went to the Madonna Inn with.
Ah, okay.
And we were just wasted.
Hey, that's what they do here. That's why they call it Slow County.
They don't call it slow for nothing.
That's right. I know a guy who lives in San Luis Obispo, and he builds all these like Lego models and stuff, like gigantic.
Yeah.
Really?
They have a Lego land in California.
Oh yeah. Okay, we got about a minute. So I've automated processes, and supposedly this is going to work better. Let's see what happens. Okay, you're not going to hear me for about a minute now. It's like we're going to be burning through the atmosphere.
Okay.
Seconds. Hello, everybody. I'm Cliff Sobel, as they say in French. Of the Streamcast Network. I am the host of Anatomy of an Entrepreneur. And today is no exception. We have a really awesome show today. We did some technological stuff. I spent hours working on technological stuff for our shows as well as some client shows. And guess what? It's actually working. I actually did some like very basic programming, and I was able to automate some processes. Like my gloves? Look pretty good, right?
Those are cool.
You like them, Eric?
Those are cool.
Yeah, nobody can see you. Well, you know, I just try to impress the ladies with my gloves.
They might run.
Anyway, this show is brought to you by My Instant Office, which you cannot use right now. Nobody's allowed in the building. We have a shared office space here. If you need a desk, a chair, an office by the day of the week of the month, do not come here. We don't want you here. We need the money, but we don't want you here right now. But after this stuff is all over, please come back. We're also brought to you by the Huntington Chamber of Commerce. The Huntington Chamber of Commerce is the largest chamber of commerce on Long Island. And we are very happy that they support us. So without further ado, I want to get to my guests because they're really cool. I actually met these guests on a show we did for a client. And my brother says, I'm watching your babbling. Thank you very much, Lloyd. But what you can do is you can ask questions in the chat window if you like, and I will answer them. So please don't be rude and text me. Anyway, we have on these great guests from California. They have this amazing little craft distillery, and they're also doing some awesome things for the community. I really want to find out about them. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to bring in their, let's see. Boop. Are you guys there?
We're here.
We're here.
Yay, Eric and Anna Olson of Central Coast Distillery. Did I say that right?
That's it.
I love the background. Each guy, it looks so cool. I got to bring that up big. I got to bring that up full screen. You see that, guys? Look at that. They got an actual distillery going. Look at all those employees running around there too. I think two.
We're social distancing.
What's that?
We're social distancing right now.
You two aren't, but you're social distancing from me.
This is us distancing.
And that's right. And this is why I wore gloves today, because I knew that I'd be close to you. Anyway, it's great to have you both here. I'm really happy that you decided to partake and be on the show. Eric and Anna, how long have you been in this business?
Food all my life. So, in the distilling of it legally, about 3 years.
So your video is kind of acting up a little bit. I guess there's going to be a lot of people that are on near you, so you guys are kind of acting up. Tell us about your journey, Eric, like how you got here.
Started out as a boy on a ranch in California, in Eureka. All my relatives were the first druggists in California, so I learned a little bit about foraging and a little bit about pot stills because they used to take those medicinal properties and use alcohol to make up their remedies. And then after that, just couldn't stand bad food, so it's cheaper to go to chef school than college. My dad said it'd be cheaper as far as the food I eat, and off I went to chef school around the world and worked at some top resorts and volunteered at different orphanages and won some international competitions with my cooking skills. And eventually I found myself on a truck with a bunch of chefs, a big food truck, one of the largest ones, mobile delivery unit for weddings. And I started telling them I can make better alcohol than our people were buying it from. And they all laughed at me. So that's what really charged me to start this journey.
So you loved doing it, you had a passion for it, and then you're almost like you were on a mission when people said, don't tell me I can't do this. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Are you like that by nature?
Yeah, I like to do what they say I can't do, and I have a younger son the same way, and I really build that up in him.
I notice Anna is laughing.
Oh yeah.
Is he like that?
He's the go-getter. This guy's an overachiever in anything you put in front of him. And particularly when he's challenged, he's going to make sure that he is successful at whatever the challenge is. Or give it a good try, that's for sure.
Eric, were you always like that, even as a kid?
I think the military gave me that do or die attitude, you know, mission first, people second, so I took that on. I think that really instilled something in me, that discipline. Yeah. And then chef school after that was easy.
You know, entrepreneurs are like that. They're kind of like, they don't, I know for me as an entrepreneur, I don't know how to give up. Do you feel the same way? It's kind of like you just do it. You just like, you pick yourself up, and no matter how hard it gets, you just keep going. Are you like that as well?
Never, never, never give up.
Describe what that's like. Describe that feeling when the chips are down and you're like, ugh, what am I going to do? The engine's just cut out. The plane is dipping down like about 10,000 feet. I got another 10,000 to go. How do you keep going to steer the plane out of a crash?
Oh, you got to have blind faith. You got to say, I'm going to make this thing happen. You got to rally the troops. You got to get a good plan. You got to talk to your wife. You've got to make it happen. And sometimes it's a matter of pulling up the bootstraps.
It is.
You
It's
become really
absolutely so
creative.
true. I'm sorry, Anna, go ahead.
You become very creative in whatever circumstance that is handed you. You're bound to. It's a form of survival in some ways. I think it's just embedded that way. When you want or you're driven to be successful, and so you really don't allow that opportunity to get the best of you. You just have to find a way. You just
Anna,
find a way.
Anna, you're the same way as Eric?
Um, Yeah, I think that I am. I think my attributes are a little bit different. I tend to be more analytical, which is probably puts more weights on me than Eric, who is very eager and easy to take more risks than I am. But I think along the way that I've learned that if you stick too much time in analyzing, you lose an opportunity. So I think that I have learned to be give it a little bit more momentum, and sometimes you just have to take that risk. So I've learned to be more of a risk taker, and I think Eric's learned to be a little bit more conservative. So I think we balance each other out pretty well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But you're a good team because you support each other,
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
right? So when the chips are down, you might go to Anna, Anna might go to you. Does that happen? Give me a story about that.
I can't think of an exact story, but when the chips are down, I'm going to give her my speech, and likewise, chips are down, and she'll give me my speech right back to me.
We tend to both have a little bit of a personality, find a resolution. So it's actually worked pretty well. I can't think of a time where we both looked at each other and both felt that we were down. It has worked pretty well that when Eric has needed advice or sought direction or anything in that nature, I've been there, and vice versa. So it's worked to our advantage, I think. We're very, very passionate about what we do and whatever assignment is right in front of us. So that's when, we kind of laugh because we were both born in March. So we're Aries. And so when those rams get ramming,
Yeah.
they get ramming.
Yeah.
We really, iron sharpens iron, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
We don't give each other a break.
When did the passion start for what you're doing now?
I think the passion started, honestly, when those chefs laughed at me when I told them I could make better spirits. I got something inside of me that says, I'm going to prove these guys wrong. And I'm going to quit what I'm doing here and start this thing off. And when it truly started, I went to my wife and I said, look, honey, I want to take $250,000 in cash because we can't get a loan, and I want to open this distillery. And she said, okay.
That's a great partner.
Most say no.
Well, and the backstory is that we were really in a situation where our children were needing more of our time because we had been spending the previous, almost 15 years, right, building other people's businesses. We were in the hotel and luxury resort industry, building restaurants and hotels and launching them or renovating them, which takes a lot of time and dedication. And so our boys were at an age where they really, believe it or not, wanted mom and dad to be more available to them. Our oldest was in his junior going into senior year, and our youngest was in his last year of middle school heading into high school. And so some of it was a little bit of an intervention, I would say, but with that, it was the right timing, and it gave us the opportunity to take a look and evaluate what we would do. We created a business plan. We looked at how we might be able to figure out financing ourselves along the way, because we didn't want to get into loans. And in order to get a loan, you had to be in business for a while. And
Right.
so we really had to plan it out and stick to that plan. And so that's where we kind of jumped off that cliff to say, okay, here's where we are now. This is the plan, and we're going to head in that direction. And we are very strong believers in a business plan, because if you don't have your goals set out, if you don't understand where you're headed or what the ultimate result is going to be, then you'll never get there. You cannot fly blindly. It just helps to be able to keep you on track.
Absolutely.
And then when you set your brand and you start to identify what that is, then you're now setting a course or lanes within which you can operate.
It's a great guideline, but by the same token, the plan doesn't always go as planned. Is that correct?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It doesn't. But at
Tell me
least
what
you have.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, at least you have an idea. You have a North Star, right? So you have a direction of where you're headed.
Yeah, I guess a story for me is when we were in LA, we were running a major hotel in LA, and the riots came in and closed the whole place down. But we weren't going to close down. So we invited the local law enforcement to set up a headquarters inside our hotel. Long story short, we were the safest place in town. We are now open 24/7. Law enforcement's eating there. They're staying there. We're bringing in, enough capital to keep our employees employed.
Right.
So looking back at some of those wins, we say, what did we do in the past in these situations? Let's get going here. Let's get creative. What can we do to meet or exceed whatever situation needs to be attended to in that society that we're in? And that's kind of where we were now, is they closed our bar, and that's where we make our money.
Right.
We make the alcohol, we make the drinks. They closed all of our classes from Cal Poly. They closed all our classes for the tips training, all the bartenders. They closed our production, which goes out to these nice resorts that we used to work at. So in one, we're wiped out. So we said, hey, let's look at wins and what those situations and how we're going to garner.
So what you're saying is, and you kind of cut out because the internet is kind of spotty on your end, is that you have to be able to adapt.
Exactly.
And you have adapted. There was going to be some other questions I was going to ask, but now that we're on that path already, let's go down that path. You've had to close all this kind of stuff. I think I must be funny and don't even know it. So you went down this path, and now this COVID-19 hits us. Did you get nervous at all? Before I ask the question, did you get nervous at all? Like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? Or did you say, we're just going to figure it out? What happened?
Well, I'm sure that at one point we probably did get nervous, but not in the beginning. We didn't get nervous in the beginning. We said, hey, it's up to us to do something about this. And we need to get something done right away, because we're still at a certain bill level with our security system, fire alarms, the rent, the insurance for the restaurant. None of those go away, even though they've closed us down. So we have a bill level we have to meet. Then obviously we've got to eat along the way, and we have children and car payments and everything else, just like everybody else. So we had to get something moving.
That is another sign of a true entrepreneur, is that A, you don't give up, because you don't see giving up as an option, which is correct, right? You don't see giving up as an option. And then the next thing is, as an entrepreneur, we get resourceful. We go, okay, let's look at the cards we have. Let's look at how many chips we have left. What are we going to do? How can we most effectively make this work for us, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So what did you do?
Well, step one is we're in a very small building, but it has 2 port windows on the side. So one window is your order window, and your other window is your pickup window. So now we still have social distancing. We have a food truck without wheels, And now we can do meals to go for the community because most of the restaurants are shut down, and everybody that's probably tired of their own cooking at this point or can't find food, and we're still able to order from restaurant supplies. So we started a food program to go to our communities. That was step one. Then we found out ABC says you can make drinks to go, and we said, oh, we're going to take that one. We can
With
make
a
drinks.
meal.
We can make drinks to go with a meal with tape on them, and boom, next thing you know, we're in the drink business again, making drinks to go. Then we started selling our spirits with a package. So much spirit, Coca-Cola bottled up from Mexico, limes to go with it, so they can take their whole package home, just add ice, and they're ready to go with their food, their spirits, and then we threw in a bottle of hand sanitizer on top of it. Sanitize their hands when they're here.
Is that how you
So
got into the
that's-
hand sanitizer business?
Yeah, we had a local apothecary call us, and like I said, that was my background. Pharmacist called, wanted some alcohol to make some hand sanitizer. I said, hey guys, do anything for you. I'll get some over to you right away. And next thing you know, I'm splitting it with them. I'm taking half of what they're making. They're taking the other half. We're writing lists of everybody in town that needs hand sanitizer. Tascadero, fire department, police department, homeless shelters, the state hospital, prison. Around here, we don't like people to flash their badge when we're running the bar, but you'd be surprised how many people come down here and flash their badge now. They're all flashing their badge because they know they're going to get some hand sanitizer. So we're used to the badge flashing. We're getting to know our community through this. We're meeting or exceeding our food production. We're almost at 100 covers a weekend, which is really great for us. We're selling our spirits in a package. We package them up. We're moving them at a better price point than if we're going through our distributor.
So you got into all this new business. The first question I have is, when you start, how long have you been in the distillery business for?
Like I said, legally about 3 years.
Okay, 3 years. How long did it take until you were making money?
We're still working on that part.
Okay, but
Yeah.
but you're getting there.
We were almost there when they shut the lights off on us. We
Okay.
were really close.
So they shut
We
the
were
lights off.
definitely covering our bills and breaking even.
That's
So it takes
awesome.
1 year. Or it takes
In our
1 year.
first year.
Takes a
That's
year
awesome.
to build the place and get licensing.
Right.
A full year.
That's
So
awesome.
the second year is,
Right. So now you have to like change gears. How quickly is this adaption building?
Well, Eric kind of gave you a really broad brush took place. Ally here and saying, I'm a business owner, give me the dirty details. The reality is that we had to figure it out. It wasn't just like turning things on and continuing to in the same momentum. We had to figure out, or he had to figure out, the formulations, for example, related to what it was going to take to make an alcohol that met the requirements of our brand, that was going to be acceptable to a pharmacist for a medical medical grade product. There were quite a few different things that we had to take into consideration. Resourcing, we had to try a few batches to see how it worked. So there were just a lot of things that, there were a few things that still had to be figured out before we could just jump into it. And then because of the mad scramble of everything that was going on, people were feeling the stress of not being able to find the alcohol that they were looking for to create this product. All of a sudden it seemed like it kind of just disappeared. And what was unique about us is that we were honestly making the product from scratch right here in our distillery, and that you don't run out of product to distribute. So when we do sell or give away our hand sanitizer, for example, we don't run out. We can't say, oh, you can only have one, because
Right.
as long as we can resource our ingredients, we can make the product. So we had to figure out pricing. We had to resource bottles. We had to, there were just a lot of details to turn the business. And I'm going to say it took us a week and a half to 2 weeks to really just grind down and figure it all out.
We have a comment here from a Lloyd, and Lloyd says, so basically you made lemonade from lemons.
Limoncello.
I wish. You made limoncello. So it's really cool how you've been able to do that. I want to switch gears for a second because I want to. I'm going to bring up a couple of images here. Tell us about this stuff.
Well, the first one is our organic gin. We're in an area where they really appreciate products that are organic, so we went through the CCOF and I got all the certifications for that gin. We bottle it at 89 proof. It's really the gin for the gin haters. It's kind of the opposite of what's been out there for all these years. It's more floral, and the juniper is kind of in the back of it. Then we have our double gold Best in Show bourbon barreled rum. That was our first entry in our first competition, and we won against some of the distillers that have been out there for generations. So we're really proud of that, and you know I rub those chefs right back. And then our honey vodka, we really got behind the bees and everything what's happening with the bees and bees forage and local beekeepers. So we made a honey from a mead from honey and then distilled it into a vodka. So it's not sweet, but it does have a little bit of essences of wildflowers locally. So those are our products. We have some bourbon and a couple other ones. We're working on an agave spirit. We have a high wine that we call Prohibition wine. We have an orange brandy, which is a lot like Grand Marnier, that we thought we'd come in price point during the tariffs and beat them all with that. So
Right.
we changed. Now we're into the hand sanitizer.
So
But from
I'm going to switch back. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Anna.
I was going to say, from a marketing perspective, like the labeling and the branding of our product was really trying to stay in line with, in some ways, family traditions. Eric's history and this family being, from the medicinal side of things. And so it's kind of interesting that this hand sanitizer would very quickly and easily become, stay right in line with our brand and cross right over. To allowing us to present that as part of our retail products.
You know, this gentleman, Lloyd, says he loves tequila. And so I'd like you to talk a little bit about your agave spirit product. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, you know, like I said, we're real quality minded. We really, from my chef background, I just couldn't take agave syrup out of a plastic jug, pour it into a ferment tank, add some yeast, and call that agave spirit. So what we did is we went out, we sourced some different agaves that they make, not tequila out of, but mezcal. So very close to a mezcal agave. It's called a Centennial. We have them here. They grow wild. We sourced some that were 14, 16 years old. And we started to do the traditional methods with the koa and cleaning the leaves, and we soon found out that there was just something that we're not trained to do. So we switched that module into a sawzall, sawzalled them up. We used some of our local almond wood to smoke some, and then we used some of our local chefs and some of their walk-in ovens. We were able, Darner, to get some product into those ovens, digitally keep track of them, roast some of them, and smoke some of them. And then mortar and pestle, grind this stuff up, get a ferment going. What was interesting is we left a blue agave natural yeast in Mexico, and we moved to a natural wine yeast strain here in our county. So we're using wine yeast that's local. We're using these non-blue agaves, and we're getting a good ferment. And now it's in the barrel, and we've got a lot of people that are requesting it already, and we haven't even gone to market with our label yet.
Very cool. Can you tell me a little bit about these?
Yeah, those are some of the drinks that I did. You know, a lot of people eat with their eyes, obviously. So that was my whole premise: is better look good and better be a little bit different on the healthy side. A lot of vibrant color. You want people to say, "Hey, what's in that drink? It looks really good." So it begs for questions. What are those garnishes? What's in those drinks? And why'd you do it like that? It was kind of my thought process behind it.
Are they popular?
Our drinks are popular. I mean, we were voted. We didn't go to competition where you pay to go to competition, and we were actually voted best in North County for our rum drink, which really, I felt was a high honor because it's the public, and there's nothing in it for them to vote for you except that they really do enjoy your operation. So that was a big high honor for me. Probably a little bit higher than some that the competitions that I actually roll up and have to pay, and there's judges, and they have a long descent of judging spirits and backing spirit programs. This was really meant a lot to us as the locals are really behind us. Just rolling out the gate, we got this, and I think that's one of the most things I'm proud of.
I think it's so awesome that your community is so supportive of what you're doing. And tell me what that's like for you. Describe to me the feeling, and does it stimulate you to like just want to push harder when you get so much support?
You know, the street here, a lot of things were closed down, and there's a couple businesses that do bring me business just because we send food to their businesses at night, and people want to come back and see where the food's coming from. And then obviously they sit down and have a drink, or they come back at a later time. So some of these businesses aren't doing well, so we were making some food that they could give away to have people come back to their businesses. We put some balloons out in front of their businesses. So we went out of our way to try to make their business successful so people would still be coming in this area. So when it's over, we'll still have that flow. A big one was I'm in a small building, and the fire marshal didn't want me in here. And city got behind me and talked to the fire marshal, and we looked at some codes with the building inspectors, and they were tough. They wanted it like to code, and we made it to code, and fire marshal was still a little hesitant about this whole thing, even though he's a block away and he's a great guy and can't say enough about him, but he wanted to do the code, and he wants to protect the city from anything as far as a distillery. And I was able to come back to him, you know, a year and a half later, 2 years, and say, you know, this is Eric from the distillery, and I just want you to know I've given your whole squad hand sanitizer, and we're making hand sanitizer, and because you allowed me in that building, I'm able to get hand sanitizer to the first responders out there, and I just wanted you to know I didn't rub him with it, but I wanted him to feel like, okay, that distillery thing, it panned out in a way.
Yeah, that really seemed to work out, and you know, to have that kind of support, it helps you push forward and also get more creative.
Without the support, you know, I think we probably wouldn't stretch as much as we do, but when we feel like society, visit Slow Cow, the local tourism board, some of the different leaders in our community frequent our place, bring in people. That really shows us that we're on the right track, we're doing the right things. And it also keeps us, like what Anna's talking about, staying in those lines. When you start thinking, well, can we do this, or can we? She'll say, that's why those people come here, because those boundaries are set.
So our business model was always set up to be a part of a community. We went out to get our certification through TIPS so that we could offer classes to our local servers and bartenders in an effort to train them, and this was before any mandates, to train them in how to serve our community safely, how to keep people from overindulging, and just to
checking
ensure
IDs.
that everybody was operating within a good realm of qualifications to ensuring we were giving back to our community in one way or another, especially in a community where there's a lot of wine, there are a lot of microbreweries and then some distilleries that have come in recently. So we thought that was really important. We wanted to be leaders in that. And so what we didn't, I don't think what we expected was to really be rallied around with so much passion by our locals. I mean, they supported us. They were waiting for us to open. It's almost like that commercial, open, open, open. And when we did, they just flooded in. We opened on a festival weekend, and it was just a bang. It was amazing how many people came in and told us that they've been waiting for us. And then from there, we kept getting this request to start a membership. Can we be a member? We want to invest in your company. We want to have some sort of investment in your company or in your distillery. And so we ended up creating a society, which we call our Forager Society. And we brought our members into the process. It's a very small membership because we want to keep it very intimate, and we are a very small distillery. But we got them involved in the process. So when Eric started to consider doing a beautiful orange brandy, who better to have taste it than the people that come to you regularly and have an idea of what your product is like. And so that allowed us to test that, and it ended up, we ended up getting an account from a very large restaurant in this area for that particular product. But what was nice about that is instead of going with just our Forager brand, we did label that under Forager Societies. So every time he comes up with a new product, he's been able to test market that right there with the folks that support us and have our best interest in mind to do well.
So now I have a two-part question for you. Here we go. Wait, hold on. That's me. Tell me about your roles. You're also husband and wife. So tell me not only about your roles, but where's the intersection and how do you make sure that you don't step on each other's toes?
Well, can I just can I give you a little backstory first?
Absolutely.
And then we can go into how that kind of fits here or how we've had to adapt. But Eric and I have had the opportunity to work together in several different hotels. We were in the hotel business. I have operated various different luxury resorts up and down the coast of California, and he has been in the food and beverage capacities, both as executive chef and food and beverage director. And so when we worked together, there was always this part where he had to report to me. Maybe somebody in between, maybe sometimes, but that was kind of the role. And then later on, it became more of a partnership, which groomed us, I think, more for this particular role. But in our learning process of having gone through the buildings of those particular businesses, I don't think it was difficult at all to kind of define those lines, right? Now, there still is that RAM issue of wanting each other to hear where we're coming from, but from a roles and responsibilities perspective, I think they kind of shook themselves out. Would you say, Eric, pretty naturally?
Yeah,
organically?
I don't think Anna wants to come into the kitchens and into the bars and start cooking. It's not something she's really good at, you know. She's welcome to come on down. We'll fix her something to eat. Sometimes she wants to get on the food truck. I say, you're not getting on there. It's full of felons. They're all on probation. Not a good spot. It's the other side. I don't want to manage all the little secretaries and little, intricate details. So, I'm good in the kitchen. I'm good in the bars. I'm good in knocking out banquets, room service all day long. That's what I do. I'm the operations manager. She's more of the executive. She's more strategic, more long-term.
Administrative.
Yeah. So we understand our roles. My role is everything inside the bottle better be damn good. Her role, everything on the outside better be damn good.
If you look at the Venn diagram, where do you guys intersect?
I think there's some intersecting, all right, but we hold our territory pretty good. It's pretty clear at this point.
Well, I think probably.
Let me guess, she's the boss?
I'm sorry?
Let me guess, she's the boss?
He'll say that. but
Yeah,
I don't know if
it
that's so
doesn't, to me, she can be the boss. That means she's got to take it, And it's the other way around. If I want to be the boss, then I better be boss in the right direction.
Yeah.
We look at it more, who's the leader in this project. We don't need a boss. Boss is, standing there telling everybody to push. A leader is pushing
Absolutely.
the hardest. And that's the role we take. If we're going to be the leader, then you better be pushing the hardest.
Yep.
And honestly, everything in that bottle, pretty much I have control of. Everything on the outside, she's got control of.
Interesting.
That's kind of how it is. She's
great.
design, she's a label, she's packaging. I can definitely talk to some of the people that are intoxicated a little better than she can. She can definitely talk to some of the finer end people that come in here better than I can. So we've got our roles established. We step on each other's toes. Sometimes we laugh about it. But on the main end, she's a genius in her own right, and I can outwork anybody. The two, I think, are pretty fierce.
And from an intersection perspective, I think when it comes to the legality side of things, the
Yes.
TTB, and particularly as it pertains to formulations and applying for label approvals and those types of things. I might do the footwork, but he really has to meet the requirements. So that's where I would say that we really intersect the most.
Right. And he's also better at dealing with the felons.
Yeah,
Right?
that's a definite.
Yeah. Where do you see the business going? Give me like 1, 3, and a 5 year, like, I mean, I'm sure everything's changing up now because of what's happened, but you probably still have plans and you're probably altering them a little bit, right?
Yeah, I still see the same craft quality, just more recognition on that end. I still see us doing classes for Cal Poly or some other institute with, a really good name, and supporting them with our efforts. I still see us teaching safe serve to local craft cocktail bartenders and servers. We're adamant about that.
We do fun classes too. We actually provide educational courses to the locals as they want to be a part of it. And
That's cool.
sometimes it will include safe serving components of what we do. So if we do a class, we have this program called The Art of, and so we do the art of cocktailing, for example. And so locals come in and we teach them how to create cocktails. We teach them the equipment they need. We talk about the glassware. We talk about the number of people they might be entertaining and why they might want to go one route versus another for their ability to expedite those particular cocktails and such. We talk about, being careful and how to observe if somebody has already come in maybe with a little bit too much to drink already, or how to, control a situation a little bit better if somebody has too much to drink, and so on and so forth. So whether it's that class or a class on garnishing, so you saw that picture that you pointed out earlier, that was one that we use when we promote our garnishment classes, because those are things that make a drink pretty, but also within that there are very specific ingredients and garnishes that we use that speak to that particular drink. So one of the things that Eric is very good at is utilizing a lot of various things that he forages on a regular basis. So seasonality has a big play in our cocktail list, and it is very seasonal. He might bring something in like a hibiscus or something at one time, and it'll speak to how it affects the body, or why you would want to have that in your drink for that particular recipe, and so on and so forth. So we try to get people involved in other things too, besides just the he does whiskeys and intro to distilling classes, and people want to learn. They're very fascinated with distillation. And as you know, distillation is not just of alcohol. It can be distilling water. It can be distilling herbs. And so, for spa products and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think we try to have fun with some of the things that we do. And I see that continuing to be a component of who we are, because people do enjoy learning something new.
The impression I get is that from other conversations that we have had, is you're not really interested in growing this thing too big because quality is just so important to you. You just don't want to let go of that quality.
Yeah, when you're a chef, you realize really quick that, you can do a private party for 20 people and you can do it really well. But then you say, well, let's do a private party for 40. And then let's do it for 200. And then let's do it for 2,000. At some point, it just breaks loose. I'm sorry. So what I've learned is, let's keep this thing small and tight. And if we, don't have a lot of quantity and it's limited, then maybe we can garner a little more price. And that is what we're after. We really want that quality thing. We want to be leaders in quality. There's a lot of booze out there that's flavored with stuff that's just chemical. And I know it's hard on the body. And I said, let's go another direction. Let's go high quality. Let's keep it tight. Let's keep our costs in line. Let's really show good service to the people that can come in here in the small amounts. Let's, we'll show them a home environment. Let's be leaders in education. And I think looking forward, let's do something for the larger part of the community of getting people interested in coming back, or the people that are here to stay here and support the local businesses.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I used to go to California a lot. There was a point there where I was going to California, at least once a month. One part of the reason was because my son went to school in San Francisco. But I haven't been out there now for a couple of years, but I will be coming back. I can't wait because I'm going to drive up the coast again, and I can't wait to stop at your distillery and use some hand sanitizer, of course. I don't hand sanitize and drive.
No.
Yeah, but it was really
Well,
great.
we'd love to have you.
Yeah, definitely.
It was really great. I know that you're also thinking about coming to New York at some point for some of the shows or something like that.
Yeah, we'd like to come back. We had some good experiences in New York already with our spirits. They've ordered some through some taste clubs. We really like the market. We really, our heart's with New York right now. So that would be on our goal list to get out there and surround them and obviously do a tasting of some of our spirits at some of the higher end locations.
Well, it was really great having you on, and I definitely want to have you guys on again. I want to follow your progress. I'm so impressed, with what you're doing. I like your products. I love the way you two interact with each other. I think that's so cool. You're such a great team. It's just so impressive what you're doing. I'm very happy for you, and I just think it's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. And let's see, I think I got to go to this thing here. So anyway, it's been a really cool show today. Next week we have on Dr. Meredith Vandergrift, who is a plastic surgeon. We had her on once before, but we're going to talk to her next week about, well, how is she adapting during this whole coronavirus thing? I mean, it's pretty crazy. So I'd like to figure out, like, well, what is she doing? Anyway, so we will see you with Meredith Vandergrift, Dr. Vandergrift, next week, Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we hope that you guys have a great, safe week. See ya.